Hello, everyone. It's another Dropped Kickoff podcast, and Nathan is with me again. And Nathan, today I am disgusted to welcome a Queenslander onto this pod because that's not what this pod's about. It's about the Wallabies and the Waratahs, and sometimes maybe the Brumbies because Nick edits the pod. But today Nick is not on, so we're not going to talk about the Brumbies. Joking, we will. But I'm here with Andy, Handyside, who's a Queenslander and a Queensland Reds fan. Andy, welcome back to the pod after a long absence. Probably the last time Queensland won a game. Andy,
Steady
how you
now. Steady on. Hello, nice to be back.
Yeah.
The Reds, hey?
Reds. Andy is wearing his Reds hat, just in case you can't identify him if you're watching this on YouTube. There it is.
It's vintage as well. It looks nice.
It is 20...
vintage, as in it's 20 years old. It has a current logo on it.
Don't change. Don't fix what's not broken.
Yeah.
Exactly. Why mess with a good formula?
You cannot. So Andy, you're on here to gloat mainly. So look, the floor is yours. Go nuts. Wax lyrical.
Yes. Great weekend. For at least one of our Queensland teams. I mean, the one of the rugby league teams won, but the Reds. It's been a long, 14, 15 years since we last won it, and this is, in some ways, I suppose this is the promise that they've shown. And there's been a lot of bonus point losses over the years, and what could have been, and maybe if we'd kicked our goals, we could have won that game. And it's nice to get a couple back to pull them from the fire. There's been some conjecture over some refereeing decisions in the last couple of weeks. I can see Nathan nodding at me. And look, the Dungunu restart knock on, I've seen the way the law is worded. And because he didn't regain possession before it's hit the ground, having originally propelled it forward, you could argue that's a knock on. But I think everyone would agree that the spirit of the way the law is interpreted, that is, if you knock it on and then knock it back before it hits somebody else, then it's kind of play on. I thought the put down that was reviewed, I thought that I was at the game, and you don't hear the announcer, the TMO talking. I thought they were looking at him kind of losing contact with the ball, and I was like, oh, he's knocked it on, that's why it's a no try. It wasn't until later I saw some of the comments about the simultaneously grounded in goal and on the line that is that why they took it off him? I honestly thought it was a try originally, but it was 100 meters away from me, and I'm also 100 years old now, so the eyes are starting to fail. But then on the replay, I was like, oh, he's lost control of it, and that's why they've pulled it back. But yeah, anyway, nice that we're getting a little bit of not bad luck. I don't want to say we've been lucky with the decisions. We just haven't been unlucky for the first time in a long time, it seems.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the gentle draw of a victor who is just basking in the glow of beating the Waratahs on the weekend. A lot of reflecting on past grievances, which is very Queenslander-like of you. The chip on the shoulder was glowing there for a second
on the
as
shoulder.
it was activated. Not that Nathan and I ever talk about past grievances, do we, Nathan?
No,
game,
never. Not
game,
not once.
And look, again, this kind of disgusts me because we'll focus on what this means for the Reds before we get on to the Waratahs, which is the real reason why people come into this podcast. But I want to ask you, Andy, I want your perspective as say an Australian might ask a New Zealander about what they think about the Wallabies, as in good guys versus bad guys. Bad guys, obviously Reds here, if you haven't caught on to that yet. But what was your kind of perspective on the game? Because for me, if I was Reds and I played that Waratahs team, I would think we will steamroller them. it will be like that scene from Austin Powers where he slowly rolls over the guy, except it'll be about 3 times speed with all the, I guess, almost better in every position Reds team on paper, smashing the Waratahs. And instead, it was a bit of a arm wrestle, bit of a, a Turkish style oil wrestle match instead of a blitz, let's say. I mean, are you happy with the win and how? I mean, like with, I guess the margin of victory. Were you happy with the performance because it was very tough? Correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, but halftime it was 7-7.
That's 7-7 till the 55th minute or something like that. There was a point in the game where I think for 40 minutes there was no try scored. There was no point scored. It was just a basically battle within the 22s.
But Andy, I'll put that to you. How do you feel about the manner of the victory?
I mean, they got it done, didn't they? Which is, yes, on paper you'd go, oh yeah, this Reds team should do it, but the Waratahs have beaten us twice this year already. I was out. You guys all angry reacted my picture of a can of Forex Gold out at Ballymore back in February, where you guys put nearly 50 points on us, right? And then round one, it was the margin escapes me, but it wasn't a close match.
I think it was like 25.
25 points margin.
Something like that, yeah.
It's 36-12 or something, or 37. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. If this was round one, you'd come in going like, yeah, Reds are going to kill them. But the fact that, like I said, the Waratahs have already beaten us twice this year and beaten us twice convincingly. And there's no such thing as an easy match in this between these two teams. Like they're always, and it was a real arm wrestle for the 60 minutes or so. I think it was. It was 7-7 and it wasn't through lack of trying. There was they were both giving it a go, but when push came to shove, so the pleasing aspect was that's 3 tries the Reds have scored late this week and 2 tries they scored late last week. Like when it all works, they're a dangerous team. So could it have been better? Yes. Will we take it? Yes. Will I be gloating about it for the rest of the year? Yes.
Unless you get blocked from the chat.
No. I mean, you gloat about it all you want, but I mean, like for me, the tempo cut. It's 1-1, so we go to aggregate. We go to aggregate score, and who wins that?
Only as good as your last game, mate.
It was a 2-leg series. We won on away goals. But no, the Reds were good. The Reds were like, give the Reds their credit. They're like, their attack is so explosive, and it just came alive in that last 20-25 minutes. And for me, it's when it's like your unsung heroes that are doing the job. That's when it's like that's when you start getting alarm bells. I reckon for the rest of the comp, like it's Jock Campbell making breaks. It's Isaac Henry looking like an absolute world beater out there at 12, and Filippo Dungunu still remains criminally underrated for how good he is, both as a jackler and as a explosive runner. Like he's a somewhat slimmer Tava Noah. He's great. Like, and then you got Carter Gordon come back, and like that's what you want playmakers to do when the game is on the line. You have someone like that who steps up. First try is in the right place at the right time, but the second try is a thing of beauty, and it's one of those ones which, when you have an attacking 10 like that, you want him to just take the game on and all of a sudden just shut it down like he did. And the fact that he burnt your man, Nick, Harry Potter, not good. Not good for your Potter truthers.
Not good.
It was an amazing piece of individual brilliance from Gordon, and kind of puts him one step closer to being that Wallabies 10. The only step away for me is he needs to show that he can goal kick, because I know, unless you can start Ryan Lonergan and then there's no problems there whatsoever. He's then already there for me, but you do hamstrings yourself a little bit just with your options. But for me, he's been outstanding the past couple of games. He's been back in Super Rugby in that Maroons jersey, and he was the difference maker in this game and for the Reds.
That would be a fun law variation if you could only have every kick had to be a different person. How about that? Sorry, just thinking about the Six Nations, how it's catching up to Super Rugby style.
That would have been good for the France-England game.
Yeah.
Imagine all those points just have to keep changing kickers.
Yeah, the prop still the match-winning penalty. Shout out, someone you haven't shouted out is Lucan Salakaioloto. I think he's really kind of growing in, quite literally, growing into the enforcer, big body in the middle role. I don't know, how do you describe it? The manhandling of Debrasini at one point was the cherry on the cake of his performance, I felt.
He's great. He's just an unreal talent, and he's just someone who might not have had that same kind of influence, but for big games, he just rises.
Yeah, so keen for him. And look, Nathan, and I'm not looking at Andy for this because I can't bear to see the glee in his eyes. And that's why I still haven't bought a webcam, so he can't see it. But a weird thing going into this game is you want the Reds to do well because, let's face it, most of the Wallabies, their coach is going to be the Wallabies coach. Carter Gordon has come back from league and back from a spinal injury of some sort. And we need him to play well. We need him to be good. So in a way, Nathan, and I hate to say it, and it cuts me up inside, but I was happy to see the Reds win in a way because we need them to win. You rated them as in your earlier this season, your top 5 predictions or needs for the season. You said something about the Reds have to win the comp this year, or at least
I didn't say have to, but I reckon there were better chances everyone was leading off, and this is exactly what I sort of had in mind as well. Like, this is the year for them, I think, and like the fact that they've been able to overcome that hurdle with the Waratahs from the opening round, which, let's face it, that was a second string Red side. Like, you look at how many people have come back in, it's a completely different outcome, and even guys like Harry Wilson just remain criminally underrated as well in terms of his influence. And there's still Tate McDermott to come back as well. I say Hunter Paisami, but do you need Hunter Paisami the way Isaac Henry's playing? Probably not. Matt Fessler adds another dynamic to a hooker. So there's still like world-class Wallaby talent and people who could have a fair argument for being top 5 in their position in Super Rugby still to come back into this Red side, which is, again, very exciting. But you're right. Like, it's one of those things you can say comfortably now, but imagine if those 2 games hadn't gone the Reds' way. It puts enormous pressure on Australian rugby if the Reds are 1-4 and we've got Les Kiss coming in, who, let's face it, the one kind of criticism around him is the fact he hasn't been able to basically take this Red side past the quarterfinal with all the talent they've had. Yep. So I think this is it's a good thing, but don't get me wrong, as a Waratahs fan, you want to be winning these games. You still want to be winning these games. It's a nice consolation, put it this way.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel, Andy? You're not smiling on camera at the moment, but it's inside. You're pulling a very good poker face at the moment.
When I changed my thing to We Are So Back, it was previously Hope is a Dangerous Thing. So, and you talked about the quarterfinal losses over the last 2 years and the games that have gotten away. So, yeah, it's been good, but there's still a long way to go. And then the season management, was it last year? We dropped a lot of games we shouldn't have. I think we just beat the Force twice at the end, and then we lost to Pacifica, and then they rested a bunch of players, and we lost a game that we probably shouldn't have lost, and then it meant we ended up going to Waikato and playing there, and then playing in Canterbury the next week or something like that, and you're just like, that's, even for anybody, that's going to be a formidable task to try and overcome that. So we'll start to get excited toward the back end of the year if we, jag one of those top 2 or top 3 positions. But it's incredibly tight too on the ladder. There's a lot of teams that aren't too far apart. Like the Reds keep winning and we just keep staying fifth. Like we keep winning and just going nowhere with it. I mean, we had the early bye, so that probably didn't help, and we haven't collected. I don't think we've picked up bonus points yet either. So
you've got one bonus point as compared to the Waratahs, who got essentially two from their wins. But you're right, like you look at this ladder, and within let's say from fourth to ninth is within 5 points, a bonus point victory. So still plenty. But like even saying that, I looked at the ladder where it goes Hurricanes, Blues, Brumbies, Chiefs, Reds, Waratahs. I think 5 of those teams are locked into final spot. I think it's just going to come down to Waratahs, Highlanders, Crusaders fighting for one spot. But because that's kind of been the message for me from the first 5 rounds. Is it does seem like there are kind of teams which are just a step above, and the Reds are, let's face it, they're in that category now after that Brumbies win and that Waratahs win. Hey, even the Highlanders win looks more impressive like week to week because they're no slouches as well. So, like,
yeah,
I mean, like
the Highlanders game, they did that pretty easy, to be honest. I thought I was there, and it was one of those ones where it's like, oh, we left a few out there as well. And that was still waiting for people to come back. It's just, if we can put it all together at the right time. It's like that sort of 2009, 2010, 2011 kind of build up to the Reds premiership that time. And a lot of disappointing close losses in 2009, and then 2010 it started to kind of click, and I think they made the quarterfinals or semifinals or something like that. And you just, oh man, if it all comes together. And the Reds for the last couple of years have been that frustrating. Like, oh man, if we hadn't lost that game that we shouldn't have lost, how did we lose that one? And that meant we've got to go to New Zealand for a quarterfinal kind of thing, and in a place we never win. Or we do win once every 25 years, but we've already used that up earlier this year to go first in round 4 kind of thing.
It's that and the injuries, right? That's been the big things of the Reds that's kind of for me, that's the big concern still, is the fact that I look at that, I get that injury list every week, and it feels like there are new players on it. And like the Reds have the depth. Like there's so many good young guys coming through. Like, I mean, you got like Latu and Pritchard have been 2 great finds of the year. Like they've been excellent. They've shown that they're at Super Rugby level. The question is, how long can you keep playing with, 5 to 6 first line starters off the field, and what does that do for your rest of your depth when you start losing more players? So I think for me, it's almost
the Brumbies in it.
It's cliche. It's almost like the Reds, like the main threat to the Reds are the Reds, where it's either the complacency or the injuries. That's going to be the big thing for me, like leading into this middle period of the season.
Yeah. We forgot to mention too when we were talking injuries. Tom Liner, Benny Volavola, like there's incredible depth in some places, but they're not. You got to have your combinations too. And that's the other thing. I think Louis Wershon and Carter Gordon they seem to be playing together well, and that 9-10 is a key combination. But then where does Tate fit in? Where does Tom Liner fit in when those guys come back? Do we have an all-test 9-10 to unleash in the last 20 minutes? And maybe they do. You
Speaking of that,
something there, Nathan.
I'm trying to think when Tom Liner was coming back, in the sense of, is there a rally where you can fit Carter and Tom Liner into the same 15? Like the way Jock Campbell and Henry are playing, I think I just kind of going to the answer of no. Like you almost got to have a point where you're right. It's going to have to be one of those guys come off the bench for 20 minutes, which is a luxury, but maybe not the best kind of strategy for Wallabies situation.
Yeah.
Okay, boys, we're 20 minutes in. Sorry, we've got to get back to the main topic of this pod and every pod. But I just want to say before we do, your point just then, Andy, about the halves coming in. You've got at the Reds, Carter Gordon, Harry McLaughlin Phillips, and Liner, Tommy Liner.
And Ben Volivola as well.
And Ben Volivola. And then you've got one of the better Australian players to come back in Tate McDermott. And I think that's a great thing. And Nathan, you touched on before that the Reds have done and really turned themselves around from like the Richard Graham days, where you've actually built a proper rugby club with all these pathways up the wazoo, creating all these players to the point where the Waratahs are like, "Oh, hello, we need some, we need a lock and we need a outside back."
Me sick.
Yeah,
me sick. Me need 10.
Yeah. So and there is talk about Harry
Reid Cardwell
going to the Tars and all that stuff. And I think to flip this around, my take on the Waratahs this game, it's to take another cartoon reference. It's almost like the Underpants Gnomes. The Underpants Gnomes is step 1, still underpants. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, profit. But instead of the Waratahs, it's step 1, have a pack. In the halves, I don't know what's going on there. And number 3 is have probably the best back 3 in the competition, or one of the best back 3. Playing this game again, and Nathan, we've talked about it, the Waratahs just have this massive hole in the middle. Or Jake Gordon, shout out Jake Gordon, and Teddy Wilson is coming through quite strong. There's this massive gap, and it popped up again. And look, even about the props, the props out scrummaged Zane Nongo and I'm not sure who the other
Aiden Ross.
Like out scrummed these two guys, and these guys just came from the Shoot Shield, Waratahs B team. Amazing performance.
They've been around for a while. You can't really run off that much.
Okay. But you understand my point. People aren't expecting big things. They've had a phenomenal season so far, and you got after the Hurricanes basically ran out the Waratahs. That's what they had to do last week. And I thought Matt Phillip played really well. Really kind of pulled the team by the scruff of his neck. And I just shout out Tristan O'Reilly as well, who, I mean, why haven't they played him at outside centre? Have as a backup centre all this time. I thought he had a great game.
What if you added the O?
Whatever. He deserves it. It's honorific.
He earned the O.
Yeah, he earned the O. Tristan O'Reilly. It was just a funny game because the Waratahs was like, okay, well, you're fighting in it. And I don't know if it's to their credit or not. I still don't know. I don't know if they drag teams down to their level. I don't know if to their credit, because kind of what Andy was saying before, the Reds didn't kind of come out of second gear. They didn't seem to come out of second gear for a while. And who else didn't? The Hurricanes didn't seem to get into second gear. Maybe that's to the Waratahs' credit. I don't know. But Nathan, do you have a word for the Waratahs?
I think they're better than what we think, right? 'Cause I think the issue with the Waratahs is everyone looks at that back line and goes, "Oh, well, that's where they've got to play all their rugby. They have to go through the backs." And I think hands up, I was guilty of that as well. I thought that was good. It has to go through Jorgensen, has to go through Potter. You have Kellaway back there. You have all these guys. You have to use them. That's going to be where your strength is. But the Waratahs have known all along that their pack is actually where that's how you win games, is by building a strong pack. The frustrating thing is now they've got that pack. It's that ability to actually execute and find a way to convert those opportunities and convert that good field position into points, which they just didn't do, right? There's so many opportunities. It's not even opportunities, right? Because they were in the Reds half that just felt like they couldn't break inside that 22. They didn't have somebody who could probably bash over a game line or create that outside of just the random freak plays from Jorgensen to set up your man Potter. But yeah, again, it just missed a little bit of creative spark. And that's just remarkable to think when, again, 6 weeks ago, you would have thought that backline would have been that would have been their strength, right?
It honestly kind of looks like like Dan McKellar's in his first season as coach again. He's rocked up to training going, okay, where's our strength? Okay, forward pack. Let's just get them to, carry it up, rely on them. We'll work on the line out and rolling more later as we get to it. Which those two things were awful on the weekend. So, credit the Reds there.
Credit the Reds. 100% credit.
But yeah, just I'm kind of surprised by the scoreline because it looked too easy at the end. But I still I don't know. I don't know where to put him. And cuts me up inside.
I think they're a good side, but not a great side. Like, I think the Waratahs, if I'm making an assessment right now, they're probably like the 7th best side in the comp. That's fine, considering where they were last year. The problem is it's a 16 finals comp. So they're going to have to find some levels to improve or snatch one or two upset wins to really kind of break into that 6. But that's kind of their problem right now. Is that I feel like they're on the same level as like the Highlanders, and with all that talent, you expect them just to be in that maybe that step above. Maybe we're thinking too much of them given where they were last year or how they finished last year. But yeah, it's just frustrating.
Yeah, super frustrating. And also, you know whose stocks are going up? Swaliti's. In his absence, the attack, how much of the attack was going through him.
Or more importantly, how much of it wasn't going through him, and everybody was putting all their attention towards trying to shut him down. Like,
yeah, it's like the notes. The notes say don't play.
Exactly, that's sometimes it. And he's a great
famous jazz artist.
Name the jazz artist.
Yeah.
Got it.
Nick can just edit this out.
Nick,
Dizzy Reed. Dizzy Reed. Shout out Dizzy Reed. Shout out John Coltrane.
Shout out Google.
Who was that guy with the munted fingers who played guitar? Shout out him.
All I know is Bleeding Gums Murphy. That's it.
Peanuts Hucker. He's another jazz artist. Let's talk about the Brumbies. I saw a bit of this game. It looked atrocious to play in. It was raining, then it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's raining, then it wasn't. The grass was really green as well. Shout out the curator. My eyes were almost put out. It looked like a tennis ball, that grass. But Nathan,
it's a new stadium, so like it should be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so is Sydney Football Stadium, and look at that grass.
True.
Not good. So Nathan, you had to watch this for work. So why don't you tell me all about it?
I would watch it for pleasure. Pleasure as well, but it was. Sorry.
Score.
I mean, before I go to score, because I bring it up, it was 42-27 to the draw, to the end draw, as people like to call it for some reason, because we don't know how to read. It was a very typical.
How you meant to say it, and they're actually they weren't at bar, they're at Mbar.
The draw. Shout Hansen.
Yeah.
Shout Hansen. No, it was a very, very draw game, right? Like, it starts out being sunny as all hell, humid to the nth degree, and just saps all your energy. And the Fijians term the superhumans, and they just absolutely thrive in those conditions, which is remarkable, I think. Brumbies, I was critical of Brumbies in the first half. I think, there was a moment, and there's a moment I mentioned in my 5 things. I'm going to mention it again, so you're hearing this regardless. The draw were down to 13. The Brumbies had just scored. Why would you kick the ball away? Why you have a two-player overlap? Why wouldn't you just decide, you know what? We've got about 90 seconds of this left. Let's just run a simple pod in, a track 3 in, and then we've got all of a sudden potentially, like, we keep doing that for 2 or 3 phases, we're going to have numbers. It's barbecue chicken time. Instead, they decide to kick the ball away, put pressure on themselves, give away an offside penalty that the Drua then kick to retake the lead and then go back to 14 players. Hello?
Idiot.
What are we doing here? But yes, Drua at home are unbelievable. They look great. Ryan Lonergan, as you touched on, he was great off the bench. Him and Declan Meredith, like, really, I don't want to turn into I'm not going to turn into a Tane Edmund bashing session, but look, their attack looked a lot better when Lonergan and Declan Meredith were on the field. A lot of that could be because of like fatigue in the game, but
Andy's putting his little hand up.
Andy's ready to go. What can you add about the Brumbies? Or do you want to bash
I'm so very polite, aren't I?
Yeah.
I did think it was rather poetic that Carter Gordon's winning try last week was him just stepping and palming off Tane Edmund. Just got the ball, held it in front of him, and went, "This is your Wallabies jersey, and this is me."
Straight through.
Just easy as.
This is why I'm a pay grade above you, mate. This is why they paid me players union, and you have one.
This is why they paid a transfer fee to get me back. Boom. Look, yeah. Like the Brumbies, again, were down a lot of their regular starters, but yeah, had an opportunity to win this game and just couldn't put it together. Again, it's Fiji and Fiji, as Andy alluded to it as well. Reds haven't won there yet. A lot of teams have gone down when they've been the considerable favourites. You expect them to bounce back, but Chiefs this week is going to be tough for them. Chiefs this week is going to be very tough. So this is going to be a real test of, all right, are these guys title contenders? Like we know they're one of the better sides in the comp, but are they legitimate chance to win the title? So I don't think you read much in this Fiji game. You throw all your attention into Friday and seeing if they can actually match it with, in my opinion, the best team in the comp.
I didn't watch the game, Nathan, but I agree. Best team in the comp. Wait, Chiefs are the best team in the comp? Yuck. I don't agree with that. I don't want to agree with that. So, yes, okay. That's just okay. First of all, shout out Drua. They brought so much to the comp. Andy, for some reason, brought up rugby league, but now he's brought it up. I can kind of talk about rugby league connection here because they're going to have a team in the PNG and they've just gone to Las Vegas. But I just want to shout out the Drew again. It's kind of crazy, and especially the vibes that they had at that new stadium where cars were parked up to the fence. I was like, "Fuck, this is fantastic!" Taking me real back. But it's so great to have them in the comp. It's so great to basically play in another biome that is tropical Fiji, where no one can really cope, except of course like the Chiefs or the Crusaders. They always seem to cope.
The Crusaders have a terrible record there.
Okay, there you go.
They were the first
Not
ones.
even them.
Everyone sucks.
Hurricanes lost there.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago. I think it's their only loss.
Somehow Moana beat the Drew at home. But yeah, it's just so fantastic to have them. And there was talk about, or maybe we'll have a Fiji, a Tonga and Samoa team in, thanks to Albo and his megabucks. So that would be sick. That'd be really sick to have them. So just shout out Fiji. They bring so much to the comp.
There's definitely something that's going ahead with that, with the Australia Pacific partnership. I don't think it's a super level team, but there is definitely something.
So my understanding of it, it wouldn't be a Super Rugby Pacific thing, but if it's anything, it would be Super Rugby Oz, and that would be your route to expanding that. Is instead of having like you add the Fiji and Drua, instead of having Moana Pacifica, you would have a Samoan team and a Tongan team. Just join that. Which, hell yeah, that'd be awesome. Imagine you're a 21-year-old trying to get a bit more experience in this Oz competition. You're then told, go to Apia and try and win.
Yeah,
you're going to be fine on any stage after that. You'll be sweet. So if that's what happens, I applaud it. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, and if I can touch on something that was brought up before, you talked about the Reds building a proper rugby club. I think there were 3 different Reds development teams playing on the weekend. I think there was an 18s team playing in the 18s kind of one of the other, the New South Wales team. But then there was a development team playing one of the Premier clubs. And then there was a game like that last week. The Premier Rugby kicks off next weekend in Brisbane. So the trials are going on, but there's been these Reds development squads going around and playing, Premier grade teams. So there definitely seems to be a lot more of it. Like on the Red socials, like, the 18s are playing this week, or there's a schoolboys invitational this week. There just seems to be, they're getting these kids like, I'll stay in rugby because you can play World Cup, you can play the Bledisloe, you can travel Europe, things like that. But also, you can do these things in the interim. And I think that's where rugby league's been really at the forefront of that junior development for a long time. Is they're signing a kid to a club at 14, but then you play for them when you're 15. There's a 16s comp and an 18s comp kind of thing. And Queensland Reds seem to definitely be doing that, just getting these kids out every other weekend as much as they can, doing something, playing a game somewhere as part of a sort of an elite setup. So we might be like, they put up the Reds. It's not the 19 Super Rugby, the Super Rugby development.
The Reds A or the Reds A? Super Rugby Next Gen.
Next Gen, that's right. So they would put up teams for Super Rugby Next Gen. You're like, oh, I recognise 7 of those names from the Reds because they played that game against Wales, or they play these other games. Like, it's pretty rare that it's like they're like school kids and you're recognising like 7 of the starting 15 because they're getting out there and playing. So, and it's starting, I feel like, to pay, like your Trayvon Pritchards, your Kingsley Uses, those guys. These guys they're coming through. It's going to be good. We may never lose that.
Like, it just adds to it because, like, the Waratahs and Brumbies also played runners, like an A versus runners games, I think, on the weekend as well. And it's one of those fascinating dynamics where you had Andrew Kellaway, Flower Fainga'a, and Lachlan Lonergan, like 3 bona fide Wallabies, mixing it with Zach Fittler, Leo Jakes, Marshall Amatri, like these guys, Isaac Fanua, these guys who will be playing 20s this year for Australia, and they're getting this experience to play with Wallabies. And all of it does, it just adds to the growth of the pathways. As you said, like the Reds have thrown out, Tom Robinson, I think, started basically every game for the Reds A side. You look at even guys like Dre Pacquiao can't get into a team right now, but it was great last year. He's still connected to a program by playing these consistent minutes before club rugby comes back. Like, it just adds to depth all around Australia, which is awesome.
It is awesome. It is very awesome. Shout out development pathways. Now, they got a huge shout out last time. Discussion. But it's time to talk about the Force now, Nathan, because they played the Hurricanes in New Zealand. I haven't really seen anything about this game except Darby Lancaster had a blinder. So, Nathan, you watched it for work, so you fill in the blanks, please.
They were very, honestly, they surprised a lot of people. So it was at Napier. You say it was at Napier. The Hurricanes made a bunch of changes. You could tell they were thinking they were just going to roll over the Force, and the Force got the better of them. Like, for the first 45 minutes of that game, they looked the better side. And out of all the people leading the way, it was Kurtley Beale at 37. Like, inside center, Kurtley Beale just beating people with his footwork, making solid post-contact meters with his bigger frame. Like, he was great. But yeah, the Hurricanes rolled on 4 All Blacks. Your boy Matt Greeley as well. Matt Greeley, he was ever reliable at the back. No, he wasn't playing this game. He was Waterboy. That's probably why they lost. Because they rested Mac.
Sorry, I was just on mute then. That was me and my hamburger hat that he was very excited to see.
For the people listening at home, Andy just lifted his phone to the camera with a photo of him and Matt Greeley. And Andy wearing his hamburger hat, which I still don't understand. And do I want to understand? I'm not sure. Andy's hamburger hat, the Junkyard Dog's real name. 2 mysteries I don't want to explain.
Big Mac.
The Big Mac. It's my Big Mac
Mate,
hat.
it clearly looks like a Whopper.
It's as close as I could get.
What's there to understand?
Did you
All
see
right,
how
Nathan.
happy he was?
All
at
right,
the
Nathan.
photo?
Well, where's your junkyard dog hat, huh?
I'm a Big Mac fan. I'm also a fan
Dog
of
with the chain on it.
the dog, but Big Mac's my number one non-Queensland red player.
Nathan, if you had to get a hat in support of a fan, what hat would you get and who would it be for?
Well, as a fan, if I'm getting a hat, is there a Mad Max hat I can get for Jorgensen?
Like it'd have to be like a hockey
Like
helmet,
the full, like full,
like a cricket helmet, but you've put a grill and spikes on the.
Yeah, like spikes and everything and it to be Mad Max, full like over the eyes. Yeah, you got to go Max.
Yeah,
A special little boy.
That's actually, I'm really impressed by your quick answer. I've got no fucking idea.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's yours, Nick?
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, I would get like what are them, like Hot Wheels? Is that what they're called? And it'd all be Ferraris and shit. And I'd wear it for Swiley because he's a Ferrari.
That works. That works well.
I was thinking.
Or maybe I could get a garage on top of the hat. Like you had your burger on top of your hat, I'd get a garage.
What about
Just park there.
what about a full Mr. Potato Head costume for when Tate McDermott's back?
Wait, what's a Oh, wait, potato?
Tatey for 80.
Oh, yeah, Tatey for 80.
80.
Yeah,
Potatoes.
I'm slow.
Yeah. Shout out hats. Shout out the millinery industry.
Sure.
I just want to add, Force. I have word. New segment. Lomax watch. I've heard he was seen out and about at Hillary's boat harbour. That ends this week's Lomax watch. Stay tuned to the dropped kickoff for all the latest Zach Lomax news. Thank you.
Right. We definitely know he's in Perth. He's settled in Perth. He's doing media on Tuesday, so.
Okay.
Add that tidbit to watch.
Yeah, I will. Are you flying over?
Nah. I spoke
Why
to him last
not?
week.
Oh, here we go. Spoke to him. So did I. So did Andy.
We all did.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. I think that's covered it. Have we got anything else to cover? Crusaders, Highlanders, who cares? Blues, Moana, who cares? Am I correct on that? Who cares?
Blues killed them.
Blues killed them. I mean,
Yeah.
Moana are there for being killed. They are the little sacrificial lamb of this season.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Till I get Artie back. That's it.
Look, I don't know if you're following Andy, and I know you are a Keen fan, but I don't know if you're following. But I posted on our Twitter, like, what's the point of Moana? All they do is come and they suck. And then the Kiwis poach their best players. And it got a lot of feedback on it. Negative feedback.
You got called a racist, basically.
Yeah. And you know what? They're right, but I don't understand how they got it from that post. Just joking. No shout out to racism. And I'm right. They suck.
Yeah,
they've been disappointing this year. They were looking good toward the end of last year. And then
it makes it even more amazing their one win this year is Fiji and Fiji. Like it's just some kind of Pacific thing where any Pacific side that plays in those conditions just gain extra superpowers, and because they have like Samoa, Tonga, and probably a bit of Cook Islands combined, it's just like comes together and just an unstoppable force. How
long to Albo, takes the fine he got from walking on the field and he puts it towards walking on the field for Alex Johnston's try and putting it towards buying Moana off New Zealand and plonking them in Melbourne? Come on.
I'd be down for that.
That's where they should have been. Always should have been. Like, be big Pacifica community in Melbourne that plays rugby and has produced at least 4 Wallabies out of it, off the top of my head. Why not? Why not? And, people from Melbourne love being part of the global world, have the Pacific team on you.
That's actually one of your better relocation ideas.
Thank you. What? I've only got 2, Nathan.
And that is by far the best idea you've had.
Thank you. I had another idea, actually. Now I'm on it. Now I'm on the roll. I've seen twice this week on socials people confuse AFL with rugby, and another thing confusing rugby league with rugby. And I'm just thinking there's a total cultural domination there in America. They don't know. They don't care. And rugby is there to take. They know what it is, kind of. It was in The Departed, starring, Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio. Shout out Martin Scorsese, where Matt Damon's character at the start plays rugby in Harvard. And he's playing as a flanker and he's got 12 on his back. I don't know if you know, Andy. I know you're a cinephile. I don't know if you know about that scene. And he's also played, what's his name in Invictus? Remember Matt Damon's South African accent?
Oh, I played Pinoy.
Yeah. But I just don't know why Super Rugby should take a game to Utah. Because Utah, there are a lot of Tongans because of the Mormon missionary effort in the islands. So that's why I think when they played in Las Vegas and one rugby league team went over to Utah, to Salt Lake City, because there's a big rugby population there anyway. They should play a game there. Perfect. Or in Hawaii, if they can get the Maori, Hawaiian, Pacific Islander kind of connection going. Thoughts?
I'd be more keen for that. That's a better idea.
Andy, thoughts? Am I a genius?
I think Hawaii is a better idea.
I think it should do it. Why not?
But I mean,
and they'll get more than 2,000 people watching it. And then Volandis would get very upset.
And was it 2031? North America's hosting the Rugby World Cup. They're going to have to do something over there in the lead up to that.
Have to.
I mean, All Blacks and Ireland play it in Chicago, and it works.
Does it?
Why not?
Does it work? I don't know if it works.
Well,
it gets like sold out every time.
Okay. Anyway, shout out The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who played rugby as a kid, and Jason Momoa, who I assume played rugby. And moving on, boys. Moving on. One of our favorite things ever happened on the weekend, boys, and that was England losing. England lost on the weekend. No, we're not salty. We're just Australian to any of our Northern Hemisphere friends listening. But they lost to France by a little bit. Is that by a little bit?
No, maybe we're a little salty.
Oh, a little salty. Okay. Yeah. But they lost to France. Pretty epic Six Nations. Wales beat Italy, so Italy didn't get their first winning season. I mean, fuck, how hard is Italy? But they had a pretty good season otherwise. And Scotland lost to Ireland, who they haven't beaten for 15 years or something stupid. Am I saying that wrong? Crazy. France, for some reason, played in the light blue kit, England in white. So it's very hard to watch the highlights as us avid highlights viewers, or maybe not Nathan.
The French jersey, I believe, was a tribute to the jersey they played in 100 years ago.
It's a sick jersey.
Yeah, but why didn't they make England then wear their alternate strip?
And it's like, where it's like Wales can't play the Springboks both wearing red and green now. It just blows my mind. I don't like it, Andy.
This came up in the cricket chat, actually, because I'm the sort of token rugby guy in there, and they're asking me about it. And once again, it's like one of these, like, rugby doesn't need enemies. Like, why do we say, Ireland and Wales can't play in their traditional strip, but France and England can wear almost identical kits, and it's like I get why France wanted to do it, and they're the home team, so
And the Waratahs didn't wear blue, which is fucked. They were white
on the weekend.
And yeah, then yeah. That's red.
These eating surrender monkeys, aren't they?
Wow, someone doesn't know his history. Someone doesn't know his history, does he?
We gotta let him have that.
Yeah.
We were doing Simpsons quotes earlier, so
Okay. Okay, Andy, go on, Andy. Then you got the floor.
No, that's it. That was no.
That's
They should have won their blue because the blue are blue, right? I don't.
Le Blues.
If you blew a white, that seems a bit more problematic. Just a touch.
Yes. Okay, Nathan. Anyway, Six Nations. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I mean, that was a thriller. In France, England, I'm going to start before I go into this game. The North, so many people in the North have basically shit-kicked Super Rugby for, all you want is just attacking moments and tries and all that stuff. I've had to listen to, this is the best game ever. Like, I can't believe how many tries and how many thrilling moments there was. Like 48-46. Weirdly, nobody talking about how the defense was terrible. Apparently that's just a Super Rugby thing. I don't know, but this a game that had everything. Like incredible tries. BLBRE is just the only reason why I can't definitively say Max Johnson is the best winger in the world because he is a special talent. I think he had.
I 100% agree. Sorry.
He had 4 tries, I think, something ridiculous like that, and the fact he's coming down, he's hopefully coming down here in July to play at Suncorp, blockbuster. That would be amazing. And Thomas Ramos, shout out to him. Like, I think it was 46-45. He gets a penalty from about 45 out and just absolutely nails it. He's a world-class kicker, but at the end of the day, that is some serious pressure on you. And most people would have folded. He just absolutely nailed it. Someone who did fold, Henry Pollock, very funny in the sense of he like shushed the crowd and gave it the full, like, I can't hear you, all that nonsense when Tommy Freeman scored with like 3 minutes to go. He then gets the ball with 45 seconds to go. All he needed to do was just kind of take a hit up and they were probably set. Throws a stupid ball out to somebody else. France recover, win the penalty and score. So it's one for humility. Shout out humility because Henry Pollock, I love the energy he brings, but wait to the final whistle before you start giving the big ones the 2 hands to the ears type nonsense.
Pretty funny too. After the Poms came here full of chat in the summer for the cricket. No, this is the worst Australian team that they've, and just 11 days. Took them 11 days to lose the Ashes. We're talking defence. There was a 40-50 match the other week. Was it Scotland, France? Was 50-40?
Yeah.
And it was like 47-19 with just like a handful of minutes to play. And it was, France just went bang, 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 like 3 tries. I do wonder is, I don't know, you're sort of closer to the setup, Nath. The law variations and the way the game's being played, there seems to have been a couple of games this year where it's been a tussle and then it's kind of blown apart in the last 20 minutes. I mean, you probably watch more rugby than I do and more closely. It's your job. Would you guys, and Nick, chime in too, please? Would you guys say that that's been something you're like, oh, is that how it's sort of been playing out this year? Or is it just the games that I've actually had an opportunity to really sit down and watch have just gone that way? The floor is not mine.
No, I think it's valid. I think it's something which has slowly crept into the game over the past couple of years, but now is a bit more exacerbated. Again, it's what happens when you bring a lot more fatigue into a game, right? Is you find yourself when you are down those games, it becomes very tough to stop those just rolling momentum that a team can get and just pile on point after point after point. I mean, the Hurricanes game last week's the best example of that. Like, as soon as the Waratahs were in that game, but as soon as they put on 2 tries, it was floodgates. And I think it's the nature of the rules, right? When you start speeding things up, this is the nature of it. And again, to keep bringing other codes into it, but this is now a problem the NRL are facing is that they've gone too far and they're not even getting the close games.
Yeah, with their 6 agains every time.
All that nonsense is just leading to just 60% to 70% of games just being blowouts as compared to, again, a bit more, in probably 25-30% of games in Super Rugby. Mainly because one of those games often involves Moana Pacifica. But, hey.
Jeez, you're going hard on them tonight.
Yeah. They're fine. I like Moana Pacifica. I feel for Moana Pacifica because I think that they're I love the concept of it, but I feel like it's unfair that as soon as they get like a glimmer of hope in terms of great talent, it just goes somewhere else. Like Kyron Tamo-Flau, there is no reason why he should be playing at the Chiefs right now. He should still be on that wing, causing absolute havoc for Moana, and still be eligible to be picked. He's played 2 games this year for the Chiefs because they've got Leroy Carter, Nana Satu, fullback escapes my fullback. I can't think of the fullback right now, but like they have all this talent in terms of back 3, and it's just like you're wasting someone like that by having him to all of a sudden having to fight these guys for positions. It's the same for Levi Moore was never the same player after leaving Moana for Crusaders. It's one of those Amoni Nawara, that's the name I'm forgetting. Like it's one of those things, right, where they have these guys who are amazing, and it should be a celebration of all these guys' histories and pathways. Can you imagine right now if they kept the players they had? They had a backline of Tamo-Flau, Tavatavanawai, and Levi Moore. That's a team that compete for a top 6, and then you celebrate the culture there. But instead, these teams just get picked off by whatever New Zealand club can throw more money, which is the nature of business, but also pretty harsh. But that's where my frustration comes. It's not really with Moana. It's the process around how they're kind of set up to always have just this ceiling on them of, one year success. Like you need a flash year of success and that's it. Like they're not built to be a long-term project. Unlike the Fiji and Drew have a similar problem, but that's more of France and like Japan throwing them money. At least there's a bit more structure around them about keeping those guys and not being poached by other Super Rugby clubs.
Fair comment. Yep.
Yes. Thank you, Nathan, for the Moana rant. I am all for it. To your point, Andy, about the blowout scores.
Hang on. Did I make a good point?
Yeah, you do. Like that is it. That is the trend, right? And I think if you compare it to rugby league, and rugby league's such a great example because the whole point, Reds,
Is this a Queenslander made a good?
Yeah. Broken clock is right twice a day. So rugby league's such a great example because rugby league was set up to be entertaining, to rugby, but to be entertaining and draw people in. So that is its modus operandi, and that's the big split from rugby union. It's rugby union's traditionalism never change it. There's other things going on, of course, and rugby league always have to constantly innovate. That's rugby league. But then you kind of get into the ship of Theseus paradox. So the ship of Theseus is basically if you have a ship and you slowly replace it plank by plank until you've replaced all the original planks, is it still the same ship? And there is this obsession and this total misunderstanding of what sport is, in my mind, which is people go, oh, it's just entertainment, and people like sport because it looks better, it's more fun, which is absolutely not true. Maybe in America, I don't know America that well, but it's more what you brought up, cultural status, ethnicity plays a part, your cultural background, all that. Like that plays a bigger part in the sport. And I just think the like running away from what the sport is, and that changing of the rules all the time kind of gets away from what happens. Kind of gets away from what happens. Kind of gets away from the essence of the game.
Are you specifically talking about the six again because they brought in the six tackle rule after St George won 11 in a row? Isn't that when they brought in like the six tackle thing? Because they're like, oh, we got to give the other team a go, and now
basically, yeah,
we've kind of brought it back, and it's like, oh, it's phase play. And you're like,
I don't know. I don't know about that, but I think what I guess I'm trying to say, but you got that aspect on it, but the other aspect is you've also got to, as the game becomes professional, and let's face it, rugby's been professional for just 20 years, so it's still kind of in its infancy. You get your 30. Sorry, you get your what they call in video games the meta. The meta is the thing that just works all the time. And you do have to, and this is the difficult part. So like rugby, a meta is kind of the rolling wall. It's really hard to stop. You quote unquote sack it. I remember Jake Gordon sacked them all, and all he did was get run over by it. If you remember that, Nathan. Like he pinged off it, like a kangaroo pings off the front of it.
Unfortunately, that was in the Reds last year, I think.
Yeah. And the other meta is the fucking box kick and the kick chase. And so we're kind of at this point now to kind of explain to where we're going to, where we just you have to kind of change the rules to match whatever the meta is going on. You know, like I said, they just changed the rules for the you can't obstruct someone during a kick because everyone just kept obstructing everyone. And so now what happens is the kicks are worse. And so kind of to your point about the changes and all that, I think at the moment the rules are kind of fucked. And it just leads to, I mean, professionalism's caught up where you can just do rush defenses all the time, which shuts down all the attacking plays. So then what have you got left? Kicking it. So then they've relaxed the rules around kicking it so you can attack. So in a roundabout way, to answer your question, Andy, the difficult part is I think we're in a cul-de-sac of rules. And that's leading to these high-scoring games. There's the scrum doesn't really work anymore. It's just feed it in behind the locks. The offside rule doesn't work anymore, or it doesn't get refed.
If you're in a blue jersey.
Yeah, I agree. Auckland Blues jersey. And then if you're and so to kind of answer your question, I just kind of think that we're just in this really tight spot that I think is, and that kind of sucks, and it will suck forever, is that people will find the meta and then they have to change the rules. And that's the rugby league fear, right? That, you know, a lot of people complain about Australia, New Zealand. That we'll just have to change the rules because these blowouts keep happening and they're not rugby. That is my long-winded answer to your question. But that's what I think about constantly, if you understand what I'm putting down. Because to be honest,
in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
In a roundabout way, yeah. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't say the laws are fucked. I wouldn't go to that extent. But
sorry. Just what I mean by that is sometimes when you're watching a game and you go, oh, you've got no attacking plan here, all it is box kick. I think we're playing Ireland. All that happened was Mac Hansen like, yeah, kick it up and I'll catch it. And, you know, that's not rugby.
I get that, but again, it's an aspect of the game, right? These things go in swings and balances, right? As soon as somebody figures out how to kind of break that down, it just goes on to the next thing. That's more the evolution to me rather than the laws having to catch up, right? Like everyone sort of comes in with the idea of what they want to do, and how they think they can kind of solve this issue. And then it's only when someone does, they go, all right, let's move on to the next thing. And like, I think the law variations we have right now are trying to encourage more attacking rugby to kind of stop people from box kicking. The problem is the French and a lot of the North just think it means just get rid of scrums, which we don't want to do. We want scrums. We like scrums.
Also,
we don't want to watch three repacks.
That whole banning scrums was a complete fucking backgrounding. Not remotely true. And the South Africans, of course, picked it up and run with it.
Yeah. Silly. But, yeah, look, I think it's one of those things. I always think the game, like the tacticians and the strategics will always be ahead of the laws in terms of this sort of stuff. So, like, it's just one of those fates you kind of have to accept, right? But yeah, it's more of how do you limit it from properly just fucking over a game, which I don't think it is right now. I mean, we just had a game Six Nations game with 95 points, where they're basically scoring more tries than they ever have. So I think we're on the right side of that battle right now.
Yeah. It's just like a difficult thing about where we're going to go. Because, like, you're right, swings and roundabouts, but I think they will become more. The cycle will become a lot quicker between those swings and roundabouts.
And that's right. I mean, it's innovation, isn't it? Like, that's one of the great things with rugby is, I mean, you know, your defensive line is there. They're not 10 meters back. You don't get to stop and talk to your coaches between plays, right? It's constantly moving, and the ball is constantly in contest. So there will be the next, somebody touched on rush defense before. So, rush defense sort of was a big thing a few years ago. So a lot of people were doing like plays out the back kind of thing, that second phase, because you can't just run a crash ball one out because you'll just get smothered. And then that opened up the kicking in behind those guys, like the sort of chip and chase sort of thing. So, and like you're talking like the Mac Hansen, we'll just bomb it up and he'll just catch it. Do teams start defending against Ireland with more people, another person sitting back, and then Ireland are like, well, that's kind of diffused that. Maybe we should send it through the hands the other way.
Yeah,
that's the evolution, right? That's how we'll eventually sort of catch up to it. So that's why I'm not too concerned about the whole thing.
Yeah, If we're going to use are we concerned or not, I would say I am concerned, because I am worried about that reaction to. It's all professional teams. Everyone wants to win all the time. So we just saw reports of, let's say, Georgia, a couple of Georgian rugby players doping. Like, if you take doping as an example, right? These guys have a will to win, an unbelievable will to win, and they want to win. And some people resort to doping, and then other teams, they resort to, okay, where is the. And what we want them to do is that innovation, that where is the kind of the weak spot in the laws at the moment. So like France, for a bit, we're doing the thing where the forwards, rugby league style, would just hang in the middle between kicks and just wait for the guy to run past them. But that's just what I'm worried about now, is that it's about the gaming of the laws and finding that chink rather than, let's say, being the better rugby side. Which I'm sure, again, they have all their focus. But it just kind of feels sometimes... And it's like, okay, the rules playing catch up. And I don't know how you break out that cycle, because then you just turn to the rugby league. Or do you do something like F1 and just change the rules every year?
Yeah, that's going so well for him right now. For him right now.
I mean, I don't follow it at all. But I know that they changed the specs of the car. Nathan's shooting himself.
It's so shit to watch right now. Okay. That's a great example of why you don't do it.
But yeah, I mean, that's the bind.
The recharging of the batteries is essentially like unlimited interchanges. Just getting guys off to recharge for 5 minutes, and then they can come back onto the next scrum. That's what F1's doing.
Anyway, yeah, that's why I'm concerned. What are we going to do? I mean, if you look at someone like soccer, and actually, I think soccer is, in terms of swings and roundabouts and rule changes, Sepp Blatter for ages, old FIFA guy, didn't want to introduce video refs because he's like, I want the game at the professional level to be the exact same as it's played on the park, which is a noble intent, right? And that's why he never wanted it. And you can even say about TMO now, like, I don't think any fans will be, let's just say South African fans, let's call them Springboks fans, will ever be happy until the Japanese make a referee robot that gets everything correct. Please move 5 centimeters back to the line out where the ball went out properly. Thank you. Until that happens, people won't be ready for the refs. And that whole video ref kind of idea and that introduction it still hasn't got rid of the problem. The problem with ref interpretation is still there, as we saw with Tristan O'Reilly's trial on the weekend.
Bring it right back to the start to finish it.
It wasn't a try.
What a fucking segue! But I just don't. Yeah, it's worrying. I'm worried. Shout out anxiety. Shout out therapists. Okay, I brought it back to Tristan O'Reilly's try of the round, disallowed try of the round. The brown Logie, they call it. Thank you for coming on, Andy. We've had a great little chat. Hope you followed along with my word salad, Nick. Edit that out. But yeah, thank you for coming along, Andy. Thank you for coming along, Nathan.
And thank you, Nick, for actually recording 70 minutes and hitting the record button this time.
I
will not let that down. I will not let that down from last week.
Yeah. It's all your fault, Nathan. You distracted me with your good looks.
Stop.
Won him over, ladies and gentlemen. That is called stakeholder management. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Andy, before we go, do you want to shout out anyone?
Anyone
at all?
Well, we've got Reds versus Force coming up in early April, so that's a couple of weeks. So shout out to Big Mac.
And Big Zach.
And
Mac
Big Zach.
And Zach.
No, Big Mac.
Mac and cheese. Zach and cheese. Nathan?
Who do I want to shout out? Actually, no, I've got no shouts in the mind. God damn it. Shout out Isaac Henry. It's been great. I've loved watching him. Let's keep the Reds team going. Great story with him back.
Yeah. And I want to shout out Genghis Khan. Still think about your years and years of conquest after 1,000 years. What a legacy to have. Okay. That's it from us. We'll catch you around probably about this time next week. Okay, catch everyone. Goodbye.